So, this is my very first time visiting Seattle and the Pacific Northwest. I was quite excited as I finally decided on a destination for a ski trip inspired by the Winter Olympic Games. But I really wanted to check out this town as well. Before this trip, I have had a lot of cliched opinions on the Pacific Northwest, such as constant gloomy and rainy weather, headquarters of multiple corporations, the aviation industry, extremely progressive politics, etc. Seattle has a unique geography. It has a temperate oceanic climate thanks to its location right next to where the California current flows by, with tall mountains surrounded. As cold air cannot effectively move down south, the Pacific Northwest region is cool but never too cold during winter amid a high latitude, and the weather in summer is quite cozy. Also, due to the impact of the westerlies blowing into the Cascade Mountains, moisture accumulates in this region, making it the place with the most rainfall in the US. In stark contrast though, eastern Washington state is pretty dry. So here I am on the flight to Seattle. Okay, a 737 MAX spotted at Seattle Airport. As expected, Seattle is drizzling for the entire day when I got there. As an aviation nerd, the first place I head to is the Boeing Museum of Flight. Seattle is famously where Boeing airliners are manufactured, notably in 3 airports: Everett, King County, and Renton. I was so excited to see the massive Boeing 747 prototype and the legendary Concorde. With dozens of other artifacts, especially a full collection of World War II fighters, this is definitely the best airplane museum in this country, and got myself some merch too. I was surprised to see this many blooming flowers everywhere, even the season is still pretty early spring. Cherry blossom is what Seattle is famous for, and they're absolutely pretty. And yes, you can even find palm trees here. They wouldn't even be able to survive the winter of Central Texas, sadly. There's a pretty small yet detailed Chinese garden without many visitors. I wonder if that's because the spring break schedule for the Pacific Coast states is different. The architectural style is typical for those around the Yangtze River Delta, which brings me childhood nostalgia. The weather is too gloomy, so this shot of the skyline isn't nice enough. I figured that I have to come again on a different day. Okay, day 2. I'm about to head to the ski resort where I will try snowboarding for the first time ever. The biodiversity of forests is what amazed me on the way there, which I will elaborate on later. It is still cloudy with drizzles as I drive through the mountains. As the elevation rises, I can see more snow cover along the highway. Then I can see a clear dividing line between the rain and snow around an elevation of 1,000 meters. Not everything is covered in white snow, something I've barely seen in my life. What a winter wonderland. This place is called Stevens Pass, which has some breathtaking views. I want to try snowboard on my own, but it scares the hell out of me at first, and I tripped way too many times when everyone else seemed pretty experienced. So yeah, I take a beginner snowboard lesson and then try to slide down a gentle trail on my own. It is a fantastic experience. Day 3, and I am finally about to check out the city of Seattle. Park and ride is a pretty nice feature of public transit here in America. I boarded the Link train from Tukwila Station toward downtown. I like how our train races some traffic along the interstate, then joins local traffic through the neighborhoods on street level. Now we're finally seeing the Seattle skyline, and we're ready to move underground. The first destination is the University of Washington campus. It is known for having dozens of cherry trees around its quad. They bloom beautifully during March, and it does not disappoint me as everything appears with a shade of pink. I also noticed how their architectural style is quite gothic, as seen on some facade ornaments. Well, I'll just pretend that I visited both Japan and Germany today. I feel the trees in Seattle are generally taller than those anywhere else, rising to at least 20 meters on average, again thanks to the great climate here. I gotta say, this is one of the nicer metro systems you can find in the US. It is clean and fast. According to what I've learned, the stations beneath downtown accommodate both buses and the Link initially, thus designed like a wide highway tunnel. Okay, I don't want to bring up any politics here, but it's just interesting to visit the site of the Capitol Hill insurrection of June 2020 in the name of CHOP Zone. Black Lives Matter protesters allegedly established an autonomous zone that's free from racist law enforcement. The zone was finally dismantled after some weeks. Here I can still see political graffitis and posters everywhere, with vandalisms, cardboard covered windows, rainbows painted as zebra crossing, and LGBT flags flying over shops. I personally don't align myself with progressive politics, but walking through Seattle Capitol Hill is quite entertaining to me. Here we are on the bustling streets of downtown, ready to ride the monorail to our next destination, Space Needle. This 1 mile long monorail system, along with the entire Seattle Center complex, was built to host the World's Fair in 1962. Keep in mind that this monorail has been in service for 60 years, and this train feels worn out. It's quite loud already, though it might have appeared futuristic at that time. Surprisingly, the weather is becoming sunny. I'm about to get to the observation deck of the Space Needle. The view is breathtakingly beautiful, where you can see the entire city and the Puget Sound, even as far as the snowy peaks of the Olympic National Park to the northwest. Sadly, I could not see Mountain Rainier, an active volcano in a conic shape that resembles the famous Japanese Mount Fuji, which is blocked by clouds. I don't know if I'll ever get to see it during my stay. I'm not scared of heights anymore, luckily, so this glass floor is not intimidating to me to stand on. The mechanics of this revolving restaurant is interesting to me though. The entire deck is like a giant gear and is rotated by another small gear. Since the weather is getting so nice now, I thought about visiting the Mopop, but now I decided to just walk around the streets and take some good pictures. I headed toward the waterfront and found a crowded yet diverse seafood market. This coastal street, named Alaskan Way, once contained an elevated highway, a very typical 1950s planning and infrastructural design. It was damaged in an earthquake and was demolished several years ago. Since I've checked out most of the downtown area, I decided to get back to the park and ride station so I can take some nicer pictures from that same viewpoint 2 days ago. It is absolutely rare to see a sunny day like this in Seattle, as more than half the days in a year are cloudy here. And we are racing with some cars again. Okay, so I am this viewpoint west of Seattle again, and I'm glad I made this decision. Look how beautiful it is. Why is it that I still cannot see Mountain Rainier from here? Then I drive west because I see a beach there on Google Maps. Okay, some palm trees here give me a strong California vibe, but the sand is rough and I can't see many nice shells here. Let's explore it a bit more. These sunshine, landscape, tree species, and housing styles really do remind me of California's Golden Coast along the Highway 1. Maybe Washington State should still be considered Northern California. Before sunset, I just wish to explore one more park with some typical Seattle nature. This park, called Seahurst Park, right on the Puget Sound coast, has some amazing biodiversity of plant species, just like anywhere else in this region. Not only a mix of coniferous and deciduous trees, but there is also abundant moss cover on the branches and the ground, so it remind me of looking at cells from a microscope. It just appears unreal. You can also find ferns everywhere, just like a Jurassic Park scene. So even winter hasn't officially ended, the forest already looks amazingly vibrant. And also, speaking of gymnosperms, ferns, and mosses, it reminds me of last year's bio class. Day 4. I'm about to practice snowboarding some more. I chose a different location this time, Summit at Snoqualmie, which is a shorter drive right along Interstate 90. I thought about doing some hiking first, but cannot find one that's either open or free. Okay, that's Washington State for you. But this frozen lake along the highway looks fantastic nevertheless. I'm pretty confident about my skills so far after 2 days basic training, but definitely need more practice, so that's the only thing I planned for today. I did this fail miserably before legitimately practicing. And I'm pretty sure at the first time I tripped after getting off the chairlift, which is funny. But I am enjoying this scenery from the top of the mountain so much. I got on the chairlift for perhaps more than a dozen times, and gradually I find myself falling less and less and having more steady control. I'm no longer intimidated by steep slopes anymore, as long as the trail is wide enough so I can perform some big zigzag maneuvers. Wish I can have a GoPro, but I recorded this run at the end of the day with my phone. I think I've improved a great deal, and I'll definitely come back for more next winter. Day 5 is the last day of my Seattle trip. I only plan to visit 2 museums. The Asian Art Museum in the Capitol Hill neighborhood has a wide collection of statues and paintings from China, Japan, India, and etc., and I quite enjoy it. Also take a detour to see Bruce Lee's grave, the true kung fu legend to the Western world. The Museum of Pop Culture is at Seattle Center again, but I'm not sure if this is something I'm truly enthusiastic about. Well, maybe, because I still really like the exhibition on indie games and sci-fi history. So here I am, at SeaTac Airport again, ready to say goodbye to this great city. This city is not perfect. It absolutely has gloomy and chilly weather. Everything is more expensive. Residents are too politically woke. There's a ton of homeless people and trash on the streets. But definitely, this trip has also changed a lot of my previous perceptions of Seattle. I'm amazed by the vibrant art, inclusiveness, convenient public transit, and most importantly, breathtaking nature. It is now one of my favorite cities in America, and I will 10 out of 10 visit her again in the future. And I don't have any regrets here. Well, maybe except the fact that I never had the opportunity to take a glance at the iconic Mount Fuji of Seattle, despite I've always been actively searching for it by looking to the southeast. I got the window seat by chance. Oh wait, guess what do I see through the window as the plane's about to take off? Mount Rainier. I'm just so damn lucky. Our plane literally flew toward the mountain as we ascend and then to the left side, we get a crystal clear view of the volcano. It just feels like a dream. My vacation is complete now, finally. Okay, that's the end of this trip. Hope y'all like it.